here we are, sitting in the light.
Should have filled your dark soul with light!
Yeah, if you go into any sort of safe spot, wait, what? Oh, well, I guess I'm going to reload that checkpoint for some reason. I don't... Anyway.
I don't know what the point of that was, but okay.
Me neither. Yeah, if you step into any sort of safe zone, enemies will just leave. Until you exit the safe zone, and then they will attack you once again.
Anyway, I was going to say, the game's portrayal of Alan's physical fitness, being a desk jockey who doesn't really do much of anything else, is pretty accurate considering he can sprint for about 3 seconds and then he gets winded.
I mean, I can sprint for about 10 seconds and it's just like, yeah, we're never doing this again. This was a terrible idea. Also, I forgot that, enemies do in fact reappear. I was just like, oh, whatever, they were in their area. They won't leave that designated area.
You fool!
However, they will leave that designated area. But now that there's a much more distance between the two of us, not the two of us, but the four of us, it's okay. Even though that one still clearly hit me.
Nah, it went wide.
Hit the ground right in front of me.
Bounced off the ground. The handle hit you in the shin.
Hammer bounces off the ground, just catches Alan square in the dick. Just cuts to Alan sitting there in the light against the sign, just like... What are you doing, Alex? There's no more collectibles, especially nothing in the trash. The dumpster's sitting in the middle of, well, I guess a picnic area, but would you really need a dumpster for that?
Yes.
One picnic table? A dumpster?
It looked like more than one picnic table to me.
Come on, that was like 5 feet.
Again, Alan is a...
want to be in Bright Falls. These little communities revolted him, and he didn't like the trees or the coffee. He now knew that impossible horrors lurked behind the storefronts and smiles. He desperately
These two things are not connected.
Around and just drive until he passed out or ran out of road and booze. But he had a job to do. He had a rider to catch at any cost.
The game is trying to hint at something about to happen. I do like how they use the manuscript pages to foreshadow later parts of the game.
So is this actually relevant? Who knows? It could be. Be another one of those points of me asking, do I really love my wife?
I think what disappointed me about it, though, and it's understandable that this is not the case, but if you put all of the manuscript pages together, they don't form a coherent story. It's very, very disjointed, which I get because they were writing stuff to put it in the game as a collectible. They weren't actually writing a coherent story.
The birds!
Damn you, Hitchcock!
I would be screaming at this point about how much I hate my wife.
I'd be screaming about how much I hate my life.
His gun is clearly better than mine is.
That flashlight's kid stuff. The flares will keep the bastards away.
Yeah, but flares will burn out. Flashlight batteries will mysteriously recharge.
Hell, of course I see him. Come on, we gotta move.
Why?
Because that's the way the story goes.
Yeah, but...
Let's move!
I lost my gun back there.
Oh, I've got a gun. Just keep that light steady on it.
It took a moment.
I hope everybody's ready for this portion of the game.
He'd been on the ferry when I first arrived here with Alice. He knew my name. We were headed in the direction of Lover's Peak. There was no way this was a coincidence. He was the kidnapper.
Come on, Wake. You better keep up.
Nice job, Alex.
Yep. It's a little bit different when I don't have a gun to go along with it. Nonsense of the highest caliber. This is one of my least favorite gameplay conventions.
I admit this does suck, but
I like how Alan's hands are still clearly like he's holding a gun in his right hand.
yes. A lot of games do that.
At least sometimes. Actually, I think it actually is him like putting his hand around the flashlight to intensify it. Not that I'm sure that's actually how it would work with your hand, but I don't know, would it?
I mean, yeah, you could hold a flashlight that way.
Lover's Peak. Right up these stairs.
But I mean, could you intensify the beam of light by kind of ripping the front of it?
Give me the gun.
No.
No can do.
Are you kidding? Give me the gun!
No time for back talk. Pull him off, damn it.
With what? Sticks and harsh language?
Mostly just harsh language.
I mean, technically I do have a stick, it just happens to spew fire and light from one end.
A little longer.
Anyway, no.
Get some light on
It
those
looks like
bastards.
that's what he's
The
doing.
intensifying the flashlight beam is a metaphysical thing. One of the manuscript pages talks about him squeezing the flashlight for dear life and it just getting brighter.
So he's just kind of like putting his both hands to it for fun.
Yes, he's holding it with both hands.
Be sure to grip the shaft with both hands. Follow the kidnapper more like the kidnapper follows me.
Better get ready. They'll be on us soon.
Can I have a gun now, please?
Okay,
This is it.
another thing that bothers me a little bit.
There's more players here. Get ready.
When Alan runs or walks, the flashlight beam doesn't move. Like, I understand, it's a targeting reticle, but it bothers me that the cone of light is stationary unless you're moving the camera around.
Doesn't he usually keep pointing in that whatever direction the camera is in, rather than what direction he's moving in?
Well, yeah, that's not what I'm saying. I feel like the flashlight beam should wiggle when he moves, you know, like, it's perfectly steady when it shouldn't be. And I know that's because it's a targeting reticle. But it just sticks out in my mind.
It's fine because Alan hasn't had any coffee today. And yes, I do see the coffee thermos there, but it's not important.
Not as important as living through this. After all, how are you going to drink coffee if you're dead?
Okay, so you're gonna shoot him or what?
This is a piece of cake, Wake.
A piece of cake, he says, with his infinite ammunition.
Hey, wouldn't you be cocky if you had infinite ammunition?
But not if I still needed the flashlight. And what if that flare was just like, nope, I'm out of here.
I guess that is a thing that can happen.
Yeah, pop the flare a little bit too close to the railing. Yeah.
Ow.
Yes, hello. Nope, you can fuck right off.
Get an achievement for using flares?
Either using them enough, or... I thought it was scaring off enough taken with one flare.
Maybe so.
Five with one flare or something.
You call that nothing, dickwad?
I didn't see you getting hit.
Let's cut the act now. Where's my wife?
I knew you were going to say that. I read it all before. You're a hell of a writer. Congratulations. You're gonna bring about something glorious and terrible once we get you some proper editorial control.
What the hell are you talking
Seems like such a risky
Where's
gamble.
Alice?
I want the entire manuscript, or she's gonna suffer bad.
You touch her mouth.
Smooth, Alan.
Well, he disarmed the kidnapper. But really, it's kind of one of those things. Okay, so you have the power to
No! Come back here!
write things that become reality.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, let's totally fuck with the guy who can do that.
Which would be great if Alan was actually technically in control of it.
Because he thought it held some magical power, but I had no manuscript to give him. I had to get back
I
to
mean,
Barry and figure out my next move.
One part of the game says it has to remain logically consistent. It doesn't seem too difficult. Like, and then the kidnapper, while running away, tripped on a rock and then broke his neck on the fall.
To her, darkness wasn't simply
It's a thing that could happen.
Isn't that basically what happens to him?
Something you could touch and feel.
I forget what happens to the
It was
kidnapper.
something with a mind of its own,
Other than he
something
dies.
malicious and malign. For her, things changed when they were wrapped in darkness. They turned into something else, something foreign, and nothing was safe or innocent anymore. I'd never really understood what she meant until now.
Well, it's a little bit different when the darkness is an actual literal thing that is happening. I like how I was just like, I don't want to be in the water at any point in time. The darkness is the water, I guess. That was what, like, the first implication was, but it seems pretty content being like tornadoes and stuff. That's not a manuscript page, that's a bear trap.
Well, at least they make them nice and obvious for you.
Yeah, you just have to shine a flashlight on them and you know they're there.
It's a nice touch, actually.
They will stay highlighted. Highlight.
It actually is a real nice touch. You see the traps because the beam from your flashlight is reflecting off of them.
It just happens to stay there to make it easier on you. Honestly, having my leg caught in a bear trap at this point is like, you know what? Whatever. Sure, I'd be irritated about it, but
This is far from the most painful or bizarre thing that has happened to me today.
what with all these guys throwing axes at me?
Ouch.
And suddenly, two guys at once.
Lewd.
A little beyond my limit.
That's what she said.
Exactly. Good throwing arm on that guy.
What the hell?
I don't know if there's anybody around me, but there's not now. Wouldn't a flare also last longer than that?
I was gonna say that, yeah. This has about 1/10 of the typical duration of a real flare.
Everything else about this whole thing is realistic, but not the flares. But then again, you could chalk it up to the darkness.
Yeah. Ow.
It's like, and then because of like the moisture in the air or something, the flare burnt out a lot faster. No.
The game can't make up his mind with the audio cues here.
I think it just does that anytime Taken spawn. Rather than when you see them. Does that not look like a chest to you?
It does.
Can't be open though. You can also tell enemies can potentially spawn because the environment starts doing this.
Looking like you're really, really drunk.
Like somebody smeared grease all over the camera. Make it look like a dream sequence.
Okay, Joker.
Good thing you killed all those guys, except for this one.
And his 3 buddies.
And then my computer was like, huh? I actually don't know why it did this.
Huh.
For some reason, it's probably running something. Something probably popped up in the background.
More than likely.
What it was, I don't know.
Coffee, 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 coffee.
Still fresh, I guess. Anyway, get on with the computer. Thank you. Chug along, but, like, at least chug.
The night had been one desperate situation after
My favorite one.
I was exhausted, and my body felt as though it had been chewed up and spat out. The flashlight was heavy in my hand, and each pull of the trigger sent a painful shock up my arm. But I was finally out of the woods, and things were looking up. That's when I heard the chainsaw.
I would read that piece of manuscript and just kind of like, you know, that painting of that guy reading the paper and then looking up really confused.
Yeah.
It would be that.
I like that page. That sounds like something out of a Dresden Files book.
I had heard
You know-
the plane fall. It made no sense. It was clear
I
that it
didn't.
had just fallen here, but it was very old and obviously hadn't flown in decades. Looking at it sent a shiver down my spine.
Anyway, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, it just dawned on me that Alan's portions of the manuscript are in first person, but anyone else is in third person perspective, and that's something that you generally don't see in a work of fiction like this. I mean, it's like, it's inconsistent. It's weird.
Okay, help. Can't mantle up little tiny rock. Resident Evil protagonist issues. Yeah, most stories kind of pick a perspective and stick with it.
Yes.
As otherwise you'll confuse your readers. I thought about it, but I was like, no, that fall will probably kill him.
I think it would, actually.
Prince of Persia. Sure, you can run up this wall and run along walls and do other strangely gravity-defying acrobatic maneuvers, but God help you if you fall more than 10 feet.
Right?
Sorry, you never learned to tuck and roll.
That reminds me, I keep thinking I would want to do an LP of The Forgotten Sands, just because it's like a game that I haven't seen anybody else cover. But it's not a bad game, but it's not an interesting game, and I don't think I could make it interesting to watch.
Here's the prince's brother that has since was never mentioned until now. Takes place in between that time that the prince fucked somebody that apparently was made of sand. Man, that would be weird. You are literally dating time itself, I guess.
For however brief a time.
So can't we just go back in time and prevent all this from happening?
That's what got us into this mess in the first place, you idiot.
It's different when you know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you managed to fuck it up even worse. It's like, literally, that is the plot of Warrior Within.
I thought that was the plot of the Two Thrones. Twin Thrones, whatever it's called. Coffee.
Well, that's what leads into the plot of the Two Thrones.
By stopping that whole expedition in the Vizier ahead of time, so I guess somebody else is just like, hey.
Yes, by preventing things from happening... Yeah, let me rephrase that. By knowing what was going to happen and stopping it from happening, he made things 10 times worse.
And then there's that whole Dahaka thing.
Yeah, that was also a problem.
It wasn't like he stops the Vizier ahead of time. Or rather, nobody finds the same. He stops the expedition from happening, but he doesn't stop the Vizier.
Yeah, the Vizier was still a problem.
And here was me thinking, I don't think I've gotten to a point where the game has become, like, unwinnable until this happened.
Oh, huh.
And because Alan is a wimp and cannot fucking climb up ledges, here we are, stuck forever. Next time on Radical Bromance. Nonsense.